Good morning, and welcome to the 2023 Spring New Student Convocation Ceremony at the University of Southern California. President Carol L. Folt, the trustees, faculty, staff, and students of USC extend their warmest greetings to the newest members of our Trojan family. And now, please welcome the members of the official party as they enter the arena. One column is led by the president of the faculty, Dr. Dan Pecanino, who is carrying the Silver University Mace. The second column is led by Dr. Monique Allard, the university's interim vice president for student affairs. The procession begins with the deans of USC's school and academic units, followed by the senior officers of the university and the university trustees in their cardinal gowns of office. Together, they work with USC's diverse community of students, faculty, staff, alumni, and neighbors to create an exceptional learning environment and to advance the university's academic mission. Next, we have our faculty, student, and alumni speakers. Today, we will hear each of them give a special welcome to our incoming students. Following the speakers are members of USC's senior administration, and completing our platform party is Dr. Carol L. Folt, the 12th president of the University of Southern California, who marches at the end of the right-hand column wearing the Presidential Medallion of Office. Please rise for the singing of the national anthem performed by Marina Beeson, and please remain standing for the invocation.
What so broadly winged at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Honored guests, please welcome the Dean of Religious Life, Varun Soni.
As we come together at this auspicious time and place, the University of Southern California acknowledges that our campus and our city are located on historical Tovaangar, the land of the indigenous communities of the Los Angeles Basin. And so let us take this moment to pay our respects and gratefully acknowledge the native peoples on whose ancestral homelands we gather, as well as the diverse and vibrant native communities who make their home here today. Just as Los Angeles is sacred ground for its indigenous communities, it is also a holy place for so many others. Indeed, our City of Angels is the most religiously diverse city in human history, a place where the world comes together to pray, to reflect, to commune, and to love. Like our city, our beloved campus also has its own sacred geography and emotional landscape. From Alumni Park to the Coliseum, from Tommy Trojan to Hecuba, and from the Galen Center to the many living, learning, research, performance, and worship spaces on campus where transformation and transcendence happen every day. One such sacred space on campus is nestled in a quiet courtyard of sycamore trees and offers its visitors a moment of introspection amidst the busyness of university life. Appropriately called the Little Chapel of Silence, it has served for nearly a century as an interfaith sanctuary for generations of Trojans looking for solace, looking for stillness, and of course, looking for silence. Inside the Little Chapel of Silence is a large wood carving of a tree, and beneath that tree is a prayer box that contains the handwritten prayers of students, faculty, staff, and alumni, prayers of hope and healing written in many languages that convey the full range of human emotion and that tell a story about the soul of the Trojan family. One prayer finds a new student starting a new journey. I am leaving all my insecurities, doubts, struggles, and stresses with you, tree, because you know what to do with them, and I don't need them anymore. Please allow my positivity to flow through naturally. In another prayer, a current student comes to a crossroads and ruminates, I want to be the best version of myself, but I'm afraid the pressure of school will make me the worst version of myself. How do I stay in tune with myself and what's around me? I pray I find the answer. Whoever reads or hears this, I pray that you find the answer too. And a third prayer reveals a graduating student looking back with gratitude. Thank you, USC, for allowing me to have met the most wonderful people and to have made the most beautiful mistakes. New Trojans, as you join this spiritual community of seekers and scholars, may you be inspired to visit the Little Chapel of Silence and bring your own gifts of love and service to the altar of humanity. May you remember that you are always surrounded by prayer and blessing, by revelation and renewal, and by sacred spaces and holy places. May you recognize once again that you are not isolated beings, but deeply connected in mystery and in miracle to this university, to this community, and to each other. And may we all say together, amen. Please be seated.
Please welcome the 12th President of the University of Southern California, Carol L. Folt.
Thank you for those beautiful words, Dean Soni, and that amazing rendition of our national anthem. Let's give another big round of applause for our singers. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the University of Southern California's new Student Convocation 2023. It is such a pleasure to see all of you here today. You are a gorgeous sight. Even in the dark, I can see you all decked out in your academic regalia. Now, you should know that these robes aren't just festive. They're actually part of a grand tradition that links students and faculty since the Middle Ages. Yet, even in these very different times, we remain linked to our past through our humanity and the legacy of curiosity, the quest for answers that have been passed down through the ages. Wearing these robes at the start of your studies marks the importance and the dignity of this occasion. And here's a little bit of a fun fact. Academic gowns were actually historically meant to be highly functional. They're pretty heavy. They kept out the elements in those, as you've seen pictures, cold, ancient, drafty academic buildings. And they did it particularly so they said the students could stay focused on their work. So it's very good that we don't need it for that here today. We're very cozy here in the Galen Center because we have sustainable solar panels on the roof that are warming us. Yeah, that's worth an applause. And for a second fun fact, solar panels, you may not know, still work on cloudy days. Now, academic convocation is a time of coming together. It's a time of celebration and reflection. It is joyful, but it's also serious. This is the official start of your academic journey here. By accepting your place as an official member of our community, you're actually committing to uphold our principled citizenship, the citizenship that we expect. And that includes acting with integrity, treating others with respect, and being a responsible neighbor wherever you live, you study, you work, or play. Now, your journeys are starting right here in Los Angeles, so I'm just going to start. Welcome to LA. You made a great choice. California and USC are absolutely wonderful places for innovation and new beginnings. And also, welcome to the Trojan family. You have earned your place in a very dynamic community. Trojans share your dreams of creating new things, of boldly advancing knowledge, and of taking on pressing societal challenges. Now let's start with gratitude, because that's at the core of everything. So let's thank your loved ones, your mentors, your friends, others who are here with you today, who are here with you in your heart, who've been your biggest supporters. Let's give them a round of applause. And to all those important people, I want you to know that you too are now members of the Trojan family. I am also joined on the stage with some really exceptional Trojans. We have our university senior leaders, our deans, we have a number of our eminent board of trustees, and we have our fabulous speakers today. And they have so many differences in their background, their approach, what they do, but they are united in a love of this place, and they are very excited to welcome you and your loved ones to our community. Now, before I put on this presidential medallion and this academic regalia, I actually wore something that was much lighter, but equally important. I used to wear a lab coat and oftentimes waders to go out into those rivers. As an undergraduate, I pretty much wanted to try everything. I jumped into studying and leaving many things. Sorry, parents, but it does work out in the end. And then I found my own love of the natural world. I became an environmental biologist. I studied lakes and rivers and oceans. And I actually know that I share a commitment to sustaining the planet with so many of you here. And you're going to find others like that throughout USC. I also discovered something that means a lot to me, and that is the thrill of new discovery. It is as exciting to me today as it was when I began doing my own research as an undergraduate. And I want that joy for all of you as well. There's a constant collision of big ideas and fresh minds here, and it creates a feeling of a kinetic buzz of energy that I know you're going to feel every single day on our campuses. So, getting outside to clear your head and refresh is a good trick that I want you all to remember during a busy term. Now, it may have been falsely attributed to author Kurt Vonnegut, but he is alleged to have said that the key to a happy and successful life can be summed up in 2 words: wear sunscreen. That's pretty important right here in SoCal, too. Now, of course, the awesome influence of the sun goes far beyond lifting our spirits. And just this month, science, experimentation, learning, and the sun came together in a most astonishing way. And it all comes down to fusion, the nuclear reaction that makes stars shine. Now, I checked this with my colleague Amber Miller, Dean of the Dornsife College. Dr. Miller is an astrophysicist, so what I'm telling you is obviously going to be true. At the high temperature inside stars, hydrogen atoms fuse into helium atoms, and that creates immense energy. The act of fusion is a very volatile cocktail, but we feel it on Earth as the warmth that surrounds us and in the precious sunlight that makes life possible. For decades, scientists have been seeking to use fusion to harness the power of the sun. And just a couple of weeks ago, I'm sure many of you read about it, using 192 enormous lasers and one tiny bit of hydrogen, scientists created the first nuclear fusion reaction in a laboratory. For the very first time, they produced significantly more energy than the initial reaction required. Now, the knowledge that they gained and the ramifications for humanity are simply stunning. The doors are now open wide for developing emission-free energy sources. An end to fossil fuels and nuclear energy may very well take place during your lifetimes. But of course, as is often true with great new discoveries, along with the good, the possibilities for harm are also profound. So we're going to need our constant ethical attention as we move forward in this area as well. But what I want you to consider most right now today is that literally thousands of people have worked for decades to get to this result. And they all sat at some time in a chair just like you're doing at the start of their own academic journeys. They dreamed big, they took chances, and they sharpened their critical thinking skills. They faced setbacks, they took some wrong turns, and ultimately, they made thousands of discoveries along the path to this one big discovery. And they're people just like you. The path to advancing human understanding, it never stops. And USC is simply a fantastic sandbox, a learning sandbox for you. It's a wonderful place for you to learn and to discover who you are now, who you're going to become, and to find the ways that you will make your mark on the future. You're already a highly accomplished, diverse, and ambitious group. More than a quarter of you are first-generation college goers. Many of you are legacies with deep ties to USC. Many of you are transfer students. You're smart, we've read all your applications, you're engaged, you're very ambitious, you have big ideas, you have big hearts, and you come from more than 40 different countries. And almost 100 of you are veterans who have served our country with distinction. So your service means a great deal to us all. Thank you. And I want you to really do this. I want you to look around. The people sitting with you right here and others you'll meet will have a huge influence on your lives. USC is really filled with extraordinary people with varied backgrounds and so many different experiences. But you're going to have, for this time here, a level of proximity and access to some of the greatest thinkers of the day, and you'll never find that again. Like the scientists who learned to work so hard to achieve fusion in a lab, your faculty and your staff and I all hope that you're going to use your time here to hone your skills, to try new things. We want you to take intellectual chances, and we know that if you do, you're going to find your own big moment. A scientist doesn't know what she'll discover when she starts. An artist, too, faces a blank canvas. An author, a blank page. A journalist, a new set of stories every day. The unknown is always before us. And it reminds me of something a true pioneer of computer programming once said, and I'm talking about US Navy Admiral Grace Hopper. She was a STEM trailblazer. She was best known for the development of computer languages. She was clearly brilliant. She was also known for being pretty irreverent. But what she said was, "The only phrase I have ever disliked is the phrase, 'We've always done it that way.'" So she was right. Prudent risk-taking is all a part of every advance you're going to see. And to that end, it's remarkable that so many undergraduates here today have chosen to transfer to USC. Your journey has already been a bit of an indirect path, and it's not without its own risks. And I know that because I was a transfer student myself. I started at Ohio State, and I went to school completely uncertain about what I wanted. I didn't even know why I was there. So I dropped out, and I moved to California, the place of opportunity. I became a waitress on the pier in Santa Barbara at Moby Dick's restaurant. It's still there. And I found my way back to the university by studying at Santa Barbara Community College. I eventually transferred to UC Santa Barbara, where I got my undergraduate and master's degree and my PhD at UC Davis. With trial and error, I discovered my own passion for nature. But when I took my own giant leap, I could not have predicted for a second that I would have ended up right here with you on this day. Now, of course, not every step that I took ever proved to be successful, but I wouldn't change a thing. And I know so many of us share similar experiences. We've all had setbacks that test us, comebacks that define us, and we're here together at USC determined to test ourselves, to discover our best selves, and to find our own answers. Now, as university presidents like to do, I'm going to give you 3 quick pieces of advice. First, now I was going to say don't waste your time while you're here, but I have actually changed my mind about that, and parents, don't worry. Instead, I'm going to say do waste some of your time. Wasting isn't probably the right word, but it's really critical that you relax hard too. You have to spend time with your friends. You have to curl up with a good show, preferably one by a USC School of Cinematics Art graduate. You have to find time for quiet reflection. Second advice is build community. I know you know how to do this. People who are there for you, they'll make you laugh, but they won't be afraid to disagree with you. You need to seek out people with different backgrounds and different views. Living and learning in a diverse community could be the single most important skill that you will learn, and you will surely be required to work in diverse teams throughout your entire lives. And finally, I want to encourage you to cultivate something that is called a beginner's mind. And you might even want to make a post-it for this on your computer that says, fresh start every day. Because a beginner's mind is open and it's unbiased. A beginner's mind is ready to make new connections, in fact, to make your own fusions and see possibility in the unknown. So thank you, congratulations, welcome to USC, and now officially, for the first time as members of the Trojan family, let's all say, fight on.
Please welcome USC's Interim Vice President for Student Affairs, Monique Allard.
Good morning, everyone. It's my privilege to introduce 2 student leaders with special words for our incoming USC students. First, we'll hear from the president of our undergraduate student government, Hannah Woodworth. Hannah is a senior at Annenberg, majoring in journalism with a minor in law and public policy. She cares deeply about lifting up underrepresented voices in our community, and she has served as a Congressional Communications Fellow. She and her student colleagues continue to work hard at building a welcoming and inclusive community for all undergraduates on our campuses. Also joining us today is our graduate student government president, Sam Garza. Sam is working towards his PhD in molecular pharmacology and toxicology at the Mann School of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences. His research explores how the body's natural hormones contribute to healthy growth and development. Sam brings the same dedication to his work on behalf of USC's graduate and professional students. Hannah and Sam would both like to share their greetings with our new students. Let's hear what they have to say.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. It is my honor to welcome you all on campus on behalf of the undergraduate student body. When I sat down to write this speech, I was debating what advice I wanted to share with you all. After much deliberation, the piece of advice I decided on was nothing. I want to talk to you all today about the importance of finding moments to do nothing, especially while you're here at USC. Let me start by addressing the obvious. Obviously, there is so much you will be doing while you're here at USC. Our campus is characterized by the vibrancy and enthusiasm of our students. We have over 1,000 clubs and organizations, and if one of those isn't right for you, you can even start your own. You will all inevitably find yourselves involved and engaged while you're here. College is about curiosity and trying new things. I don't need to tell you all to join clubs and be immersed, because being leaders and innovators is what brought you all here today. Reflecting on my time at USC, among all the incredible memories, what I have realized is that the moments to me that are the most beautiful are those that are most often overlooked. And those moments that are most often overlooked are those moments of nothing. It is those sacred moments of free time, which have different meanings to each of us. For me, it means walking to class and listening to music, sitting on my friend's porch and catching up every week, or just spending time by myself. Each of us recharge in a different way, and finding these individual moments of nothing are not just valuable, but may just become some of the most important and critical to your college experience. We find ourselves on this hamster wheel. We feel like we need to keep going, keep pushing ourselves, keep bettering ourselves. And in many ways, this is a good thing. But finding time to just be is such a valuable thing, a tool even. Our brains deserve downtime to ponder, to reflect, and to be intentional. I came to this realization in my junior year, following COVID. It was during COVID that I reevaluated my priorities and recognized the value in having time and space to do nothing. In COVID, for many of us, it was probably too much of nothing. But when I came back to campus, it was important to me to find a balance between the hamster wheel and the nothing. Having the free time gave me the ability to reflect on the material I was learning in my classes, focus on the relationships I was building, and be intentional about my experiences. This may seem like unconventional advice, and maybe it kind of is, but you are all going to be hearing a lot about what you should or should not be doing while you're here. Go to the involvement fair, sign up for 2-unit classes, go out on game day, don't go out on game day. I'm sure you've already been hearing a lot of this today. We're taking in so much all the time. So much is changing for you all, especially right now. Many of you are living away from home for the first time, taking college classes for the first time, maybe even doing your own laundry for the first time. The college experience is busy, and there are so many firsts. There's so much you want to do and could be doing all the time. I still find myself on the hamster wheel, feeling guilty when I stop to take a breath. Doing nothing can be hard for us, but try and push through this every now and then and find some time for yourself. It is in these moments of nothing that I find I'm able to be the best version of myself, building myself up to keep going again. So cut yourselves a little bit of slack every now and then. Who knows? Maybe you finding your nothing will lead you up here giving the convocation speech in a few years too. Again, congratulations to you all. Welcome to USC, and as always, fight on.
Morning, everyone. As we gather here today to celebrate the beginning of our academic journeys, I want to start by thanking all of our supporters, mentors, and those who have helped us get to this moment. So I'd like to give them all a round of applause before I begin. In the words of the great philosopher Plato, the first and greatest victory is to conquer yourself. It's only when we take care of ourselves that we can truly be the best versions of ourselves and tackle the challenges that come our way. Slowing down and remembering to take time for ourselves is just as important as the late nights studying for an upcoming exam. And I learned this intimately this past semester. This is my final academic year at USC. And with graduation deadlines looming, requirements yet to be completed, I felt the pressure and stress as I began the academic year. I maximized my output, I worked quickly day after day, and gave every piece of myself to this journey. And I often worked entire days, weekends, and nights to ensure that I graduate on time. But on September 2nd, I was riding my motorcycle at the health science campus, and I was hit by a car that had run a red light. And after having surgery that repaired my leg, I was unable to walk for 3 months. And at that moment, I feared what it meant for the semester that meant so much to me. There were experiments that I needed to perform, classwork I needed to do, and I was also in the middle of planning my own wedding. There was a lot to do in that crucial moment, and I was forced to slow down. I was unable to keep the pre-injury ambitious pace, and I worried for what that meant. However, the end result was the same. I finished my experiments, I published 2 academic papers and a book chapter, and I had the best wedding that I could have ever asked for. I even received an A- in the class I was taking, to which my academic advisor asked, "How come the minus?" Jokingly, of course. And since the end of that semester, I often wondered, why did I lose evenings, weekends, moments with friends and family if the outcome was going to be the same? This journey will take everything that you're willing to give it, and it's important to remember to keep a little piece of yourself for yourself. It's easy to get caught up in the everyday pressures we face as we strive to achieve our academic successes, but it's important to recognize that taking time for ourselves is it's not a luxury, but rather it's a necessity. And when we forget to slow down and take the time for ourselves, it can have serious consequences on our well-being. So as we move forward, let's remember to carve out time for ourselves, whether it's taking a walk outside, practicing mindfulness, or simply taking a few moments to relax and breathe. It's important to find activities that nourish our minds and bodies. And by taking care of ourselves, we can better handle the challenges that come our way, and we can live happier and more fulfilling lives. I wish you all the best as you embark on your academic journeys. Take care of yourselves and each other. Thank you, and fight on.
Thank you, Hannah and Sam, for those very wise words, and for welcoming our newest students and for sharing what it means to be part of the Trojan family. You live the values of our university every day. Through your leadership, it's a privilege to see that firsthand in you and all of our students gathered here today. 3 years ago, students like you, working alongside faculty, staff, and administration, and many others across our community, began a journey to redefine our core USC values. I'm excited to highlight one of the fruits of that hard work and collaboration, the student commitment. We first shared this with students at New Student Convocation last fall, and the response has been enthusiastic. This is a student-focused blueprint for living out our values as we learn, work, and grow together as a community. It describes the responsibilities we share as a Trojan family for emphasizing respect for all, championing diversity, and always striving for integrity, accountability, and fairness. When we do this, we strengthen the culture of USC, and we make it possible for every Trojan to reach their fullest potential. The full text of our student commitment appears on the screen, but I encourage you to take some time and read it more carefully in your student handbook. Together, we can keep its spirit alive in everything we do. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce Rachel Barton, a first-year student at the USC Thornton School of Music. Rachel is a gifted singer, songwriter who has been creating and recording music since she was 9. She released her first album in 2021, which she produced on her own, from her home in Piedmont, just next to Oakland. Accompanying Rachel on guitar this morning is Thornton sophomore, Vakari Ben. And as you're about to see, they're both very talented performers and part of an incredible community of artists here at USC. Today, we'll hear their version of what happens to be one of my favorites, Landslide by Fleetwood Mac. Please give a warm Trojan welcome to Rachel Barton and Vakari Ben.
To my love
hills till the landslide brought me down. Oh, mirror in the sky, what is love? Can the child within my heart rise above? Can I sail through the changing ocean tides? Can I handle the seasons of my life? Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, even children get older, and I'm getting older too. Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, even children get older, and I'm getting older too. Oh, I'm getting older too. Oh, take my love, take it down. I'll climb a mountain and I'll turn around. And if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills where the landslide will bring it down, and if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills where the landslide bring it down, oh, the landslide bring it down.
Please welcome back President Carol L. Folt.
Let's have another round of applause for that beautiful performance. Fleetwood Mac really does connect us across time. Loved hearing that beautiful song. Now, I have a chance to welcome back one of USC's recent graduates, Zach Coughlin. I always love meeting our recent alums because their USC experience is still fresh in their minds, and they bring a perspective on what it's like to go out into the world after graduating. That is just wonderful to hear. Like so many of you, Zach came to USC as a transfer student. He transferred to our Annenberg School from Pepperdine University, and in 2021, he graduated with a bachelor's degree in communication. Zach is also the founder of Zach's Sweet Shop, and that's a confectionery that he started in middle school. And I've just learned that he's combined three of my favorite words into a single confection: chocolate, caramel, and pretzels. As his business grew during his time at USC, Zach also became an advocate for other Black entrepreneurs, and now he is already focused on giving back to organizations that are near his heart, like that include the Trevor Project and Black Lives Matter. Not too long ago, Zach sat in a seat just like yours, starting his own academic journey. And today he's back on campus as an even more successful entrepreneur and a very powerful creative innovator. His story shows you how you can use the knowledge that you gain here being part of the Trojan family, and that will lead to so many rewarding experiences in your life. I know his words this morning will inspire you. Please join me in welcoming Zach Coughlin.
Good morning, everyone. I am so happy to be here. Welcome to USC. My name is Zach Coughlin, and I graduated from USC in 2021 with a degree in communication, shout out Annenberg, and a minor in music industry from Thornton. I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania with very specific goals and dreams of moving to Los Angeles, managing a pop star, and opening a sweet shop. Which might sound very confusing, very niche, and to many it made absolutely no sense. But one thing was certain, USC was going to help me achieve these exact dreams, and no one was going to stop me. Like many of you here today, USC was my dream school, and again, nothing was going to stop me from attending. Growing up in Pittsburgh, I was a hustler, from starting multiple businesses, transferring from a public to private school, to juggling extracurriculars to keep myself busy, motivated, and most importantly, passionate. With the goal of USC in mind and the unwavering urge of self-sufficiency from being adopted, I always felt the need to prove myself, to not only the people around me, but often to myself. My passion and drive taught me that my career and education can be truly limitless and to never fear rabbit holes, as random or as far out as they may seem, because you don't know where they may lead. My interest in photography led me to start a photography business. My love of music meant I spent any money I had on concert tickets to learn the market. My eye for design and branding led me to taking architecture classes at Carnegie Mellon. And my love for baking and entrepreneurship led to launching my business, Zach's Sweet Shop, at 13. All of these interests and rabbit holes I went down growing up had little in common from the outside, but at the same time, they paved the way for the path I was meant to take in the future and where I am today. When I was a senior in high school, USC decisions came out and I didn't get that big white chunky box. I surprisingly didn't get upset, I didn't cry, although at times I wanted to, and I did what I always did, not take no for an answer. I appealed, I was rejected again, and I applied once more as a transfer student. After 2 rejections, I finally got in. And if that's not fighting on, I don't know what is. I was still confident USC was going to help me develop my interests professionally and help me achieve my dreams. At USC, my sense of passion and drive magnified. I entered USC with the goal of utilizing my Annenberg degree to enter the music industry, and I did just that. In addition, my minor in Thornton taught me so much more about the industry, gave me access to so many music clubs, extremely smart and talented students and professors, and the cherry on top was Annenberg's Directory of Internships, which landed me an internship, and 2 years later, a full-time job helping develop and launch a pop group from 0 to millions of fans. However, within my career in music and education at USC, I went down a few rabbit holes which quickly became fruitful opportunities. I took a business class in Marshall called Sales Mindset for Entrepreneurs that didn't fulfill any requirements that I needed to graduate, but it allowed me the unexpected opportunity to dive headfirst back into my love for baking I paused on for a few years. Shortly after, my dream of opening a sweet shop became a reality when the USC community, professors, students, and faculty came together in support of my nationwide launch as I developed recipes in my dorm room. You never know who you're sitting next to in class. They might just be an integral part of your professional and personal growth. For me, members and clubs I joined became interns for my business. Peers and professors became customers, and most importantly, all of these people have become family. USC has given me full support in going down rabbit holes unapologetically, even to this day. I encourage each of you to take advantage of all the resources USC has to offer, both inside and outside the classroom. From a young age, I knew things I liked, but I didn't quite know how they were going to pan out professionally. USC gave me the opportunity to quickly turn my interests and passions into a professional career. From learning about press and visual storytelling with Spoon University, marketing the school like I market my products as an Annenberg ambassador, to the power of building a personal brand as a Trojan Vision host. You can definitely say I went down quite a few rabbit holes. When I told you earlier that my various interests had seemingly nothing in common, but were all part of a larger plan, you might have thought I was a little crazy. Well, I am. but I hope you see the reward of following your interests. You'd be surprised how far you can and will go. Whoever accepted my sugar cookie with ice cream, icing, and an insane amount of rainbow sprinkles when I was 13 is beyond me. But alas, here I am, still doing the same thing 13 years later as full-time founder and CEO of Zach's Sweet Shop, which I'm happy to say is Beyonce approved. So I'll leave you with this. While at USC, do things you like. Those things can turn into passions, and those passions can turn into a meaningful career, or 2, or even 3. And the best part is you will build a USC family that will last a lifetime and quite literally change your life. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, USC, for this opportunity. And as always, fight on.
Please welcome the Dean of the USC Graduate School and Vice Provost for Academic Programs, Andrew Stott.
Good morning, everybody. Zach, that was such an inspiring story. Thank you so much, and I hope you've got cookies for us after. So it's now my great privilege to introduce a member of our distinguished USC faculty, Professor Mike Paranal. Professor Paranal has been part of the USC community for nearly 2 decades. He earned his master's in business taxation from the Leventhal School in 2006 and later returned here to teach accounting. He's a dynamic thinker. His financial and legal expertise have made him a sought-after advisor to many European institutions, including the European Central Bank, where he counseled financial leaders during the continent's debt crisis. Professor Paranal is an excellent mentor and role model to our business and accounting students, both in and out of the classroom. As an instructor, he encourages his students to look beyond the bottom line and align their work with their personal values. In less than 3 years, the leadership program he created, called Guiding Exceptional Minds, has already helped dozens of students build connections and earn internships with LA-based multinational companies. Please join me in welcoming Professor Mike Paranal.
All right. Good morning, everyone. President Folt, Vice Provost Stott, distinguished members of faculty and staff, and most of all, good morning to all of you, our new Trojans, and of course, your families who are joining us here today and those who are watching us online. So, it is my distinct honor to be welcoming each one of you to the Trojan family on behalf of your USC faculty. Last year, I was invited to work for a company that some of you might have heard of, SpaceX. SpaceX was launching this global internet constellation called Starlink, and they were moving quite rapidly. In fact, they were launching satellites in several countries each week. And excited that they had a USC professor join them, they turned to me, shared the problem, and said, "Oh, professor, what do you think is the answer?" Well, guess what? I didn't have any. In fact, if I'm being completely serious, I didn't even understand the question. Because the terms were so uniquely technical and scientific, especially for someone like me whose background is in law and in finance. Let me tell you, I left that meeting with the worst case of what you call imposter syndrome. As I walked out of that meeting and I walked back to my desk, I thought to myself, what am I doing here? I'm clearly not good enough, and worse, what am I doing teaching at USC? Because if my students can see me now, I'm gonna be completely found out. And so that night, I left the SpaceX office with the worst case of migraine. And on the drive home, I started doubting myself, my skills, my talent, all of my previous accomplishments. In fact, I thought, and this was during the summertime, well, maybe I should just fly over to Hawaii and spend the summer there and drink Mai Tais by the beach, because that would be far more enjoyable, right? But I didn't. I didn't quit. You know why? Because I am a Trojan. So I showed up again at SpaceX the next day, and the next, and the next. I confronted the challenge, the discomfort of doubt every single day. And every single day, I would get asked a question that I didn't know the answer to. But I kept showing up. In the face of doubt, I stood my ground and worked bloody hard. And each day, I started to feel myself grow in confidence, not because I started to know all the answers, but because I realized that with hard work, I'll figure things out eventually. And I did. In 3 months, with the help of my team, we figured out the problem that we were wrestling with. But boy, let me tell you, those 3 months were uncomfortable. So you're probably wondering, why am I sharing this with you today? Because in 3 days' time, each one of you will be walking into your classrooms, labs, clinics, music halls, or studios for the first time here at USC. And you will be surrounded, no doubt, by very smart, very driven, and extremely talented individuals like yourself. But for some of you, if not most, you'll start to feel that imposter syndrome creep in and tell yourselves things like, how did I get here? And I'm a fraud. I'm going to be exposed. If that happens, remember this. You are not an imposter. In fact, you're actually pretty amazing to be here at USC. What you're feeling, though, is the very human feeling of doubt. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but that discomfort is the price you pay for growth. You see, as humans, we are hardwired for certainty. That's why feelings of doubt are so uncomfortable. But you do not get the reward of growth without the risk. And that risk requires you to embrace the doubt, to move into the haze despite not having a clear picture of what's in front of you, to move into life despite the uncertainty, but instead with the trust in yourselves that you'll figure things out as you go. You see, we, your faculty at USC, we wouldn't be doing our jobs if we didn't challenge you, if we didn't thrust you into that turbulence of progress. And yes, admittedly, at times that will make you feel doubt. But when that happens, remember this. We are here, your faculty, the staff, the administration, and your peers. We are all here for you because we know that feeling all too well. And because we are Trojans and we endure and persevere as a community in the face of doubt. We show up day in and day out for ourselves and for each other. Now, some of my students come to me and say, well, professor, you know, right, that doubt comes from the very real possibility that we'll make mistakes. And we hate making mistakes. And this is what I tell them. Let's be real. It's not the mistakes themselves that you fear. It's what you think those mistakes say about you. The fear of ridicule, of embarrassment, or maybe lack of direction. But here's the catch. When you realize that you gain so much more than you lose when you make mistakes, you liberate yourself. Because if you're not making mistakes, then ask yourself, are you really trying or pushing yourself enough to know the limits of your own potential? Are you? So let me end this by saying that in a few years' time, when we see each other again at your graduation, you'll be able to look over your shoulders and see that there's this space between where you are and where you started. That space is your growth. We will celebrate that growth when we get there, just as we celebrate today your convocation, which is the first day into that exciting journey. But just remember, you're here at USC because you all deserve to be here. But you're also here for the journey, the adventure, and the challenge. You're here because USC is the best place for you to grow into your best self. And yes, sometimes that journey will be uncomfortable. But it is in your decision to endure and to show up day in and day out in the face of doubt. That will be the best decision you'll ever make because it is in our DNA as Trojans to always keep fighting on. I am so excited for all of you, and once again, welcome to the Trojan family.
Thank you, Professor Paranal. Let's give him another round of applause for that wonderfully uplifting speech. And I want to thank all of you for being here. Today, we welcome you, our newest students, into USC's vibrant and supportive academic community. We are scholars and researchers, artists and professionals, clinicians and practitioners, alumni and neighbors. Though our reach extends far beyond our campuses, we are held together by a common belief that education can solve society's most challenging problems. You will follow in the footsteps of Trojans who have used their knowledge and talents to help those around them and to change the world for the better. Over the coming weeks, you will learn to navigate the campus and the classroom, the lab and the library. You will try new things, explore areas that spark your passion and step you outside of your comfort zones. You will also learn to engage the world with a curious mind, an open heart, and a clear purpose. Your education does not begin with an acceptance letter, nor does it end with a diploma. It's a prelude to a lifetime of learning, and your USC family will be here to help you every step of the way. And by collaborating on a project or participating on one of our student groups, by volunteering, doing an internship, or studying abroad, you will build friendships that will nourish you for your life for decades to come. At this time, I would ask that all of our new students please stand. President Folt, I present to you a gathering of students whose passion for scholarly inquiry and creative expression will drive them to explore the frontiers of knowledge in the humanities, social sciences, and natural sciences, to express themselves creatively, and to shape the future in their chosen professions. Guided by their intellectual curiosity and the desire to improve their own lives as well as the lives of others, they will make their mark on our community and on the world. Students, I now bestow upon you all the rights, responsibilities, and privileges accorded with membership in the University of Southern California community of scholars and artists. I wish you all the greatest success in all of your academic pursuits. Welcome to USC, and of course, fight on!
Please be seated. And welcome back, President Carol L. Folt.
Thank you, Andy, for your warm welcome to our newest students, and thank you to our amazing speakers. You were all fantastic. I want to be sitting in that seat right now. Now, if every one of you could join me one more time or do it again, we're going to thank the parents, the teachers, the mentors, the faculty, the coaches, the staff, the alumni. Thank you. Some people know the real source of joy in life is to be grateful every day and to be able to express it. So thank you for doing that with me again. All of your supporters have been the bedrock of support to you for years, and they're going to really love watching your journey. And we owe some really great appreciation to the teams who make this campus so beautiful. And just wait a second, just last night in this building, there was a basketball game. Next time we're going to beat UCLA. But there was a basketball game here. People stay up all night to create this amazing festive place. Trojans work so hard across our campuses to make it beautiful, to take care of everyone, to make sure things go well. So let's give a huge shout out to all of them. We're so grateful for all that they do. What they are committed to is seeing you fulfill your promise. and helping to build opportunities for you. So we're really looking forward to see how that unfolds. So students, this is the moment that your journey really begins. A lot is going to happen. You've heard people talk about that in beautiful ways. And it, of course, will be up to you to decide how each one of your own experiments is going to turn out. My hope is that you wake up every day like I do, filled with gratitude for the opportunities that you've been given, and also excited about the chance to work in service to humanity in this amazing place. It's alive with energy and passion, creativity, a real determination to save the planet and better the world, and that excitement comes from all of you. So congratulations and thank you. We're going to end our ceremony today with our alma mater. That will be performed by Amand Akbari, who is a senior studying musical theater at our School of Dramatic Arts. So you are getting a taste of the amazing creative students who are here with you. So please rise and join us as we sing this and fight on.
Please be seated. Remain in your seats until the official party has exited. Students may return their regalia to the designated pins in the tunnels. Thank you and fight on.